Shalom Yasharala. Before we go into this lesson, we give all honor, all glory, and all praises be to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakodash. We give double honor to the apostles and prophets and elders of James Camp, but in our great minister for the bring forth the 100% truth that have been correctly edified under. Shalom to the elect, the tabernacle of David, and I am my brother Kazak from HOY, Heralds of Yahweh Shai, coming to you this lovely lesson. Now, this lesson is dealing with the other sheep which are not of this fold. Now, before we go into it, this is a lesson where it is very important, which is why we always go by to apply the standard, because in doing so, this will actually give you the answer to who the other sheep are and what the fold really is. So when we go into it, the history or the backstory is important to understand the mysteries. All right? Now I go according to Isaiah 10:20, to the law and to the what? Testimonies. If they speak not according to this word, it's because there is no light in them. This is a lesson where you need to study. And in order to study, you need to be studying according to what? The standard. Because it keeps us in line with sound doctrine. I got precept. This is why I should just say what. So I just 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verses 15. It says, "Study to show yourself approved. A workman need not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth." And how do we rightly divide the word of truth? By applying, by what? So understanding the scriptures, not some. Because 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 16 says, "All scriptures is given by the inspiration of power, and is profitable for doctrines, for reproofs, for corrections, and for instructions in righteousness, that a man of power may be perfect and truly furnished unto all good works." So let's, without further ado, in reading this particular chapter and verse and going into it, you would then understand what it was talking about, because there are many slave plantation Christians that like to debate and use this as an example as to why, to add in other nations, but they're not following according to the line of sound doctrine. They're not going back into the history to understand the mysteries. Once you miss out that main part, it is impossible for you to truly understand what the Bible is talking about. So without all that, after all that we just said, let's now go into the lesson. Let's go directly to John chapter 10 and verses 14. But the point is at verse 16. And it says, I am the good shepherd, and know my sheep, and am known of mine. Salakia. As the Father knoweth me, even so I. Right, let me read it over again. It says, "As the Father knoweth me, even so know I the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep." It says, "And other sheep I have, which are not of this fold, them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd." Now, like continue reading down, but go back into the fold, right? "Therefore that my Father loved me, because I laid down my life, that I might take it again. No man taketh it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. This commandment have I received of my Father." So we know Yahweh Shai, the Messiah, have that power to what? Lay down his life and to live again, of course. But the point we're dealing with is the other sheeps. So we must identify who is the other sheeps and what or where are the fold. And we go in according to this in text, in scriptures, in textual language. which we know the sheep, according to the scriptures, that the Father has spoke about, mainly was referring to who? The children of Israel. Let's get a few precepts. Now we have precepts, a lot of precepts in Numbers and Deuteronomy and Leviticus. Let's go a little bit higher up to get to the point directly. So this is Psalm 78 and verses 50. And it says, let's get it. It says, to 52. And it says, He made a way to his anger. He spared not their souls from death, but gave their life over to the pestilence, and smote all the firstborns in Egypt. Isn't that what it says there? And the chief of their strength in the tabernacles of Ham, but made his own people to go forth like sheep, and guide them into the wilderness like a flock. Who is his own people? Who is he referring to? Before you go to blurt out Israel, let's get the precept to give the correct answer verbatim. It says, Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. Same context, same understanding referred in both sides. So one, that sheep so far is referring to who? The nation of Israel, or the children of Israel. Well, that is not enough, because we have to concrete the understanding of who the sheep is referring to. Let's get another precept, which is in Jeremiah chapter 50 and verses 5 or verses 6, straight to the point. And it says, My people hath been lost sheep. Their shepherds have caused them to go astray. They have turned them away on the mountains. They have gone from mountains to hills. Mountains and hills are referring to the other nations. They have forgotten their resting place. So they have gone up and down into the other nations where they were led to because of their disobedience. And to show you the mountains is referring to the nation of Israel. Mountains is referring to the other nations. Let's get a precept. I believe is in Jeremiah 51 to be exact, 25, if I'm not mistaken. Very clear. It says, Behold, straight to the point again, Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, said Yahweh, which destroyed all the earth, and I will stretch out mine hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, and I will make thee a burnt mountain. So this is referring to what? Esau, Edom, who is going to do what? Is according to the promise as to they're going to be destroyed. Is there we say, I'm against thee, O destroying mountain, because who is Yahweh Shai against? It's Ezekiel chapter 35 and verses 2. Let's get a precept before you continue. Ezekiel 35 and verses 2. And it says, Son of man. Verse 31. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir, and prophesy against it, and say unto it, Thus saith Yahweh, Power, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee, and I will stretch out mine hand against thee, I will make thee most desolate. Did we not read that in Jeremiah 51 and verse 25? Another precept to agree that the mountains I had to get that, because there are many people who come on the comment board and talk and spew nonsense. So the proof is in the pudding that we had to go through that once again. You understand where I'm coming from? So let's continue. Isaiah 2 and verses 2. Verses 1 and 2. The word of Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. It says, And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. Very clear. So if the mountain of Yahweh is going to be established above everyone else, it goes back into the law in Deuteronomy 7 and verses 6. Let's read. It says, for thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power, and Yahweh thy power had chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people upon the face of the earth. Clear and crisp. They can't get better than that. So, going back into the lesson, this is we reach, I believe, is Jeremiah 50. I think we read that 6 already. Right. So you see the nation of Israel being mentioned to be what? The lost sheep. Let's jump down to verses 17. It gives an even better understanding. Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First, the king of Assyria had devoured him. And last, this Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had broken his bones. So the children of Israel is the scattered sheep or the lost sheep mentioned according to the scriptures. 1, 2, and 3. The scattering goes back into Deuteronomy, which can also concretes the understanding, because Deuteronomy 28 and verse 64 was a dead giveaway to the curses for those that were scattered because of their disobedience. And it says, we ain't missing anything right now. Let's go into every detail. It says, and Yahweh shall scatter thee among all nations, all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other, the four corners of the earth. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So many of our people would have been scattered through all these nations, and they would be like what? Which is the lambs or the sheep of Yahweh Shem Yoshai. They were scattered because of their hardness, their stiff-necked ways, or disobedience, worshiping other gods or idols, and thus making them lost sheep. If one sheep goes astray from his sheepfold or from his the flock and can't find himself back, doesn't he become lost? So, I mean, it's very clear now. I mean, it's really very clear. This is the reason why the Messiah made it even more clear by saying he come not onto I want to butcher it. Let me get the precept. This is Matthew chapter 15 verse 24. And it says, but he answered straight to the point. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Who is he sent for? The lost sheep of the house of Israel. He said out of his own mouth. It is important to understand these things, because then you would understand who the sheep or the other sheep or the lost sheep is referring to. It can't be referring to other nations, because no other nations were really called sheep or lost sheep or scattered sheep from the Heavenly Father, or call them his sheep to be exact. Only Israel, only Yasharallah to be exact. Let me get next precept to add to that. Matthew chapter 10 and verses 18. Select. Let's see. Is it? Bear with me. Is it verses 8? Is it verses 8? Hold on. I got it. I have it. Right, verses 5 and 6. Why am I saying 8 for? Verse 5 and 6, it says, these 12 Yahweh shall send forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the ways of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And why is that? Because according to the history, during the time of the Assyrian captivity, Israel being the Assyrian captivity, the Assyrians would have removed the Israelites from who? From Samaria, and let the other nations, other heathen nations, to dwell there, which is why the Father would have put a curse unto them that they dwell there, because they knew not the ways of the Heavenly Father. And so lions came and smote many of them. Many of them were mauled by lions. This is in 2 Kings chapter 17, and I believe verse 24 coming down. Very clear history right there. So, this is why the Messiah said what? Don't go there. Don't go to that region, because it would not have the people there. And if it did have, the Spirit probably wasn't ready to receive. But regardless of what, don't go there because it didn't have. But rather than what? Go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But let it continue. Stay tuned until the next one. Shalom.